In this video, we'll be hunting 2 boxes of pennies, as well as seeing if we can make some progress to the Penny Hunt and Fill album. Of course, we'll be looking for any wheat cents from 1958 or older, also be looking for any proofs, foreigns, heirs or varieties, or any other cool things we can find, as well as setting aside any copper pennies we get, seeing how much we can fill up the copper jar. Have checked these 2 boxes for enders already, don't have any enders for the second box, but we do have 2 enders in the first box. Both of them are Canadian. We have a modern one there, and then what I'm pretty excited about, roll 21, we do have a King George Canadian ender. Have not gotten one of those in a pretty long time. Super excited to see that. Also a BU60s right behind it, so that's definitely a good sign for box number 1. So let's get the hunt started on box 1, and I'll bring you in on the first find. Roll number 1, and I think we're going to start off the box on a great find. No clue how I missed it by the edge when I opened the roll, but I did just uncover a wheat cent, and it looks old. Looks pretty worn on the reverse. Guessing this is going to be probably a 20s or older. Hopefully it's for the album. And it is old for sure. It's a 1920 out of Philly. Already know we have this for the album. It's a pretty common year, but a 1920 102-year-old penny to start off the hunt. That is an awesome way to start the hunt. Still on roll 1, and that roll actually had 2 wheat cents. Not old like the other one, but we have a 1941 minted in Philly. Just opened roll number 2, and we might be on a good box here. No wheat cent enders, but 2 wheat cents in the first roll. Just opened roll 2. We're going to have a third right there. 3 wheat cents in the first 2 rolls. Awesome sign for the box. Hopefully it keeps up like this. This one is a 1934 Denver. I did not think that was going to be old. That's in really great shape for a 34 Denver. And that is going to be one for the album. 28 million minted. Going to be an album edition. 1934 Denver. Awesome shape. Going in the album. But only 3 rolls in. Already got off to a great start. Just opened roll 3. Not going to be another wheat cent, but we do have that King George ender over there. In my opinion, King George is just as good as wheat cents. I think we're going to have one right there in this roll. And we do. We're going to have at least 2 King Georges in the box along with some wheat cents. That's awesome. This one is a 1950. That's an awesome find. Roll 4. I just uncovered wheat cent number 4 of the hunt. It is our newest of the hunt, first from the 50s. Pretty corroded. 1952 from Denver. Just opened roll number 6. We're going to have another older Canadian for the box. Not as old as a King George, but it is going to be a young head Canadian. Second to last year, 1963. That's a pretty cool find. Roll number 8. Just a few coins in. I uncovered another wheat cent. This is the 5th wheat cent of the box already. It's a 1949, minted in Philly. Roll number 11, and I just uncovered another wheat cent that's going to be going into the album. 1939 out of Denver. It's actually in pretty nice shape. Does have a couple of green spots on it, but other than that, it's in really great shape for being from the 30s. Like as I said, we do need it for the album. Only 15 million minted of the 1939 Denver. Definitely one of the lowest mintage wheat cents we found throughout the whole series, and it's going to go in the album. Already the 2nd album edition, only 11 rolls of this hunt. This box is amazing. Same roll. There's another wheat cent in that roll. This is going to make 7 for the box. This one is just last year, 1958 Denver. Just opened roll 15. I see the edge of another wheat cent. And it is going to be the 8th one of the box right there. And this wheat cent's going to be 1952 out of San Francisco. Roll 18, just uncovered the 9th wheat cent of the hunt. Near the middle of the roll is just another one from the 50s, 1956 out of Philly. Roll 19, and we're already going to reach double-digit wheat cents in less than 20 rolls, which is an average of about 1 wheat cent every 2 rolls, which is amazing. It's just another 50s, 1957 Denver, but we're definitely on to a really hot box. Roll 21 was that King George Canadian ender. Just opened the roll. Don't see anything else yet. But here's the ender. This is going to be the 2nd King George of the box. And it is 1950, just like the other one. Roll 33 has been a little bit, but We are going to get another wheat cent near the end of the roll. Still going to be a great box anyway. We got a lot of wheat cents and some great oldies. This wheat cent is in 1952 out of Denver. Next roll, we have yet another wheat cent for the box. This is another one from the 40s. Very worn, but it is 1944 from Philly. Roll 38, we're going to have another wheat cent, this time from the 50s. In the middle of the roll, we have a 1951 from Denver. Just opened roll 45, and I see the edge of another wheat cent, just a couple coins away from being an ender near the end of the roll. And this time, we're going to have another 1951 from Denver. Just finished hunting box number 1, and it was definitely an awesome box. We ended up with 14 wheat cents. It was definitely hotter near the start and cooled down near the end, but that's alright because 3 of the wheat cents we got were oldies. We did get a 1920 out of Philly and 2 from the 30s, and actually both of them are going into album, and they're actually both in pretty good shape. Actually a pretty nice 1934 Denver that's going to be in an album edition, and a 1939D that's also going in the album. So a couple of album editions in the first box. That is absolutely amazing. Also ended up with a great amount of Canadians as well, including a few old ones, 1963 Younghead, and 2 King George VI Canadians, both 1950s. That's awesome. And 2 1960D small dates as well. But with 14 wheats, all those Canadians, and some additions to the album, definitely an awesome box to start off the hunt. So let's go on to box number 2. Hopefully it's a lot like the first one, and I'll bring you in when we have our first find. Well, we're already on roll 27 of the box, and we're finally going to have the first wheat cent of box number 2. Been completely ice cold before this first wheat cent, unfortunately. First wheat cent of box 2 is a 1950 out of Denver. Hopefully the box can heat up. Roll 31, and I can't believe what I just uncovered. The second wheat cent of box number 2 is going to be an insane one. Look at that. That is a 1911 out of Denver. Definitely do not have this for the album. It's kind of a semi-key date wheat cent. Of course, we don't have it for the album, and it only has 13 million minted. This is the oldest wheat cent in the series we found with a mint mark. All teens mint marks are pretty rare from before 1917. It's a 1911 Denver. Very worn, obviously, but it's going in the album. Probably one of the hardest wheat cents to get in the album, or at least in the top probably 30 or 50. Definitely a super hard one to find. Can't believe we just found it out of this slow box. That is an incredible find. Just opened roll 35, and we're going to have the third wheat cent for box 2. Just opened the roll. I see it right there. Doubt it's going to be another 1911 Denver. That was an absolutely insane find, but this wheat cent's going to be a 1946 from Denver. Roll 41, just a few coins in, we're going to have the fourth wheat cent for box 2. This one is 1944 from San Francisco. Next roll, now we're going to be up to 5 wheat cents for the second box. I see the edge of one near the end of the roll right there. Second half of the box is definitely a lot better than the first half, and this wheat cent is 1941 from Philly. Both penny boxes have been hunted, so let's go over the finds. We end up with 10 1959s, 16 estimates, and 25 2009s. Foreigns, we end up with 17, all of them being Canadian, including a few older ones, 1 1963 Younghead, and 2 King Georges, both from 1950. Awesome finds there. A couple miscellaneous finds as well, just 2 1960 small dates, pretty rough shape on the one on the right, decent shape on the one on the left. Now, for the wheat cents, we end up with 19 for the 2 box, which is slightly under what I like to see, but the quality definitely made up for the quantity, because we have 3 album editions and 4 oldies. Our oldies are a 1920, which is not going in the album. Then the 3 other ones are going in the album. 1939 Denver, 1934 Denver, and a 1911 Denver, which is the first Denver minted cent the U.S. ever made. So 3 album editions there, which is absolutely incredible. Definitely makes up for the slightly less wheat cents we got in the hunt. Now, lastly for copper, we did pretty good for the hunt. Over 3/4 of the jar filled, which is what I like to see in 2 boxes, which is definitely awesome there. So now I'm going to go through the finds. We already know we're going to have a few additions, which is awesome. So I'm going to go through the finds, see how much album progress we made, and I'll be back with an update of the album. Just finished updating the Penny Hunt and Phil album. We made some absolutely amazing progress in both additions and upgrades this episode. We ended up with 3 additions and 6 upgrades for the album, which is absolutely amazing. First edition, of course, the 1911 Denver, only 13 million minted. Super hard one to find coin or hunting for sure. Super happy we found that. And the 2 other editions were in the 30s. 1934 Denver, 28 million minted, actually in pretty good shape for being from 1934. And the 1939 Denver as well, only 15 million minted, pretty hard to find, decent shape other than the couple green spots on it. But 3 additions to the album this late in the series, super hard to do, super happy we made that progress in this episode. Now for the 6 upgrades we had, one of them wasn't a wheat sense. We had a slight upgrade on the 1956 Philly, slightly more red on it than the last one. And the other 5 upgrades were in the memorial sense. We just found some really nice BU older ones in this box hunt. Upgraded the 1964 Denver, the 1968 Philly, the 1969 Denver, the 1970 S Large State, and lastly, the 1976. All those are super nice, slightly upgraded the BU ones we already had in the album, so memorial scents are looking a little nicer, and wheat scents as well, especially with those 3 additions. So overall, with all the album progress we made, Hunt had some super cool quality finds. This was an awesome 2-box Penny Hunt and Album Fill series episode.